Evening.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'm
Just
sorry.
so you guys are all aware, we did just go live, so we're still waiting for a few folks. Actually, we're waiting for a couple folks, and also Commissioner Awasti. So
Oh, that's right.
you should be joining shortly.
Someone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
Let me give him a call.
Okay.
I'm sorry that we're not meeting in person so that we can all welcome the 2 new commissioners, but we will have to get to know them in the way we do everything nowadays. Just
Yeah.
virtually.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, there he is, Liz.
Okay.
I'm Mercedes.
I'm just
Hi,
waiting
good evening.
audio-
Hi.
audio to connect. Okay. Commissioner Awasti, can you hear us? You're on mute. Can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. All right, let's go here. All right. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to City of Milpitas Planning Commission meeting, January 12th, 2022. I am going to go ahead and before calling me to order, so those members of the public who wish to provide comments, verbal public comments may be provided live during the Planning Commission meeting by first registering for the Zoom meeting, providing your name and an email address that's not disclosed. And you can go to this Planning Commission meeting agenda to find all the information. I am now going to be calling the meeting to order. First item of business is Pledge of Allegiance. I will be leading the Pledge of Allegiance, so please rise. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next item of business is the swearing in of the new planning commissioners. I'm handing it over to our city clerk, Wendy Wood.
Hello. So you can just repeat after me.
Yeah.
I state your name.
Deepak Awasti.
Do solemnly swear
Sonia Medina Ashby, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will
That I-
support and defend
the
That I'll
Constitution,
support and defend.
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
The Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will
that I will
bear true faith and allegiance
bear true
Yes.
faith and allegiance
bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely.
yes. I think it was a yes.
Oh, it's yes.
Just
Okay.
repeat after me that I take this obligation freely
That I take this obligation freely
That I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of religion,
that I will
that I will
well and faithfully
well and faithfully
well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duty
discharge the duties
upon which I'm about to enter.
upon
about
which
which
I am
I
about
am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
You're official.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you,
All right,
Larry.
thank you. Thank you. Welcome, Commissioners Medina Ashby and Commissioner Awasti. And thank you, City Clerk Wendy Wood.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the election of the chair and vice chair for 2022. I am now going to be handing the meeting over to our city attorney, Martin de Los Angeles.
Thanks, Vice Chair. So per the bylaws, we'll be selecting a new chair and vice chair. This is done at the first meeting in January. So I'll go over a bit the procedures that we can follow for this. So the first thing is we'll begin with the election of the chair and then the election of the vice chair. So there'll be two separate votes. And I believe how we have customarily done this is that one member can make a motion to nominate a specific member. If that member gets a second, then we would vote on that item. However, you'll each have an opportunity to consider different members. So you're allowed to make a motion and then alternate motions can be made. If alternate motions are made, the last motion is voted on first. So for example, if there are three separate motions made for a member, the third person who is nominated will be voted on first. And if that person gets a majority vote, then that person is the chair and we don't consider the other two votes. So as you're considering the votes, please keep that in mind, that this will be done in reverse order. Are there any questions on the procedure? Okay, then, so we'll first begin with the election of the chair. So it'll be a motion and then that would require a second.
I'd like to make a
Elect the
motion that we elect Bill Chuan for chair.
Second.
Okay, if there's no alternate motions, then we can proceed with a vote for chair.
And I accept the nomination.
Oh, Liz, am I doing the roll call vote or did you want to do that?
I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, let me find my attendance sheet. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Albana,
Present.
Commissioner Owasi,
Yes.
Vice Chair Chuan.
Present.
Oh, no, I'm not.
No, this would be voting for.
City attorney, actually on the agenda, the roll call is just after the election of the chair and vice chair.
Oh, no, we're not doing, I'm doing the.
No, we're doing the vote for the election of the chair.
Okay, it just, I heard people say present, so probably need to start over.
Okay, let's start over.
Sorry.
Not attendance
That's-
time. Okay, here we go. For the election of a chair, Mr. Chuan, Commissioner Albana, your vote.
Yes.
Commissioner Awasti,
Yes.
Vice Chair Chuan,
Yes.
Commissioner Ciardella,
Yes.
Commissioner Galang,
101%.
Commissioner Medina Ashby.
She's on mute.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
so now we'll proceed with the election of the vice chair. So same steps.
I'd like to make a motion to elect Larry Cialdella as the vice chair.
Second.
Okay, if there's no other alternate motions, then we can proceed with a roll call vote for vice chair.
Commissioner Albana,
Yes.
Commissioner Awasti,
Yes.
Chair Chuan,
Yes.
Commissioner Sierradella,
Yes.
Commissioner Galong,
Big yes.
Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, by unanimous votes, we have Vice Chair Chuan, who's been elected as chair for the 2022 year, and by unanimous vote, we have Commissioner Sardella, who has been elected as vice chair for the 2022 year.
Okay, thank you, City Attorney. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I am looking forward to 2022 to serve as your chair. Much appreciated. Okay. Maybe if Commissioner Sardella, if you just have some quick words you may want to add as yourself.
I'd just like to thank everybody for their support for Bill and I. I think we'll go forward very rapidly.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now I'm going to go back to the agenda. So next item on the agenda is roll call. So Ms. Medina, would you please take the roll?
Absolutely. Commissioner Albana,
Present.
Commissioner Awasti,
Present.
Chair Chuan,
Present.
Vice Chair Sierradella,
Present.
Commissioner Galong,
Here.
and Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Present.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Medina. Okay, next item on the agenda is a conflict of interest declaration. City Attorney.
Thanks, Chair. So I'll proceed with this question. For the new members, this is just a conflict of interest declaration. You will respond yes or no to the question. I ask whether any of the commissioners have a financial or personal conflict of interest on any of the items before you tonight. I'll start with Commissioner Medina Ashby.
No.
Commissioner Awasti,
No.
Commissioner Galang,
No.
Commissioner Albana,
No.
Vice Chair Ciardella,
No.
and Chair Chuan.
No.
Let the record reflect none to that question.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, City Attorney. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any amendments or any comments regarding the agenda?
I have a recommendation. Can we move new business before the public hearing item, or actually before the public forum? Because it will be quick.
Okay. City Attorney, that should be okay, correct?
Yes, actually, I would advise that be heard before. So
Okay.
before we take any actions, we take the vote on this item. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that recommendation. I have one correction that probably needs to be made. So just in terms of the swearing in of new planning commissioners. So the correction should be made of Commissioners Awasti and Medina Ashby.
Copy that.
So any other corrections from any other commissioners on the agenda? If there are none, may I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the agenda as submitted with the
Second.
changes.
Okay, we have a motion by Vice Chair Ciardella with the changes, and also a second from Commissioner Albana. So I'll now do a roll call vote. Commissioner Galong,
Yes.
Commissioner Medina Ashby,
Yes.
Commissioner Awasti,
Yes.
Commissioner Albana,
Yes.
Commissioner Ciardella,
Yes.
and Chair Chuan is also yes. And I apologize, I should have said Vice Chair Ciardella. Okay. So unanimous vote, agenda is approved. Next item is approval of the minutes. So are there any corrections to the approval of the minutes for December 8th?
Chair, I would like to ask something. Wasn't in the meeting, he was absent, Commissioner Alcorn? Was he absent?
Let me check.
Because the minute shows that he
Oh yes, he was not present for the last planning commission meeting of the year.
so all the ayes there would have to be just 5, right? And then I noticed in the minutes, it shows that his name was there. I don't remember who. I seconded the
Okay, let me look.
resolution for the virtual.
Oh, you're
meeting.
right. Yes. Okay, I'll revise the new business motion. It was not Alcorn because he wasn't present.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Noted. Noted. Thank you, Commissioner Albana. Any other changes?
Any other changes from any other commissioners? Okay. So, and then just to be clear, so those, and because we have 2 new commissioners, so your vote, and I'll go down the line, but your vote would have to be abstained, since you were not present at the meeting. So, and then City Attorney, just to clarify, there does need to be a majority, so all the commissioners who were there have to, there needs to be a yes vote on each of us in order for the minutes to be approved, correct?
Yes, that's correct. We would need majority vote.
Okay. All right. Do I have a motion? Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes for December 8th, 2021?
Motion to approve the minutes with the minor changes.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Albana. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. Second, I got from Commissioner Galan. So I'll do the roll call vote. So Commissioner Galan.
Yes. Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Medina Ashby.
I thought I wasn't voting.
So you just say abstain.
Abstain, okay.
Okay. Commissioner Wasti.
Abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
And Chair Chuan is aye. So motion passes. All right. Next item on the agenda is announcements. Do any of the commissioners have any announcements? Okay, if there's no announcements from any of the commissioners, planning director.
Thank you, Chair Chuan. I have just a few quick items. As was noted, there is yet one vacancy to fill on the commission, and we expect that the mayor will make the appointment for that position within a few weeks. We look forward to we are hopeful to have the new commissioner on board, if not for the next meeting on January 26th in February. We will have the meeting on the 26th. There's another commit for a daycare center that's coming forward. It's located at 1000 Jacqueline Road, and the packets will be mailed out, of course, the week before, the Friday before the meeting. If you would like a sneak preview of the, actually, I don't think it's there anymore. We did have the plans on the online public forum. Liz, we could ask Avery, or if we still have.
No, I put it back on, Ned.
You did. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a brief description and the site plans are available for that project on the online public forum. So you can take a look at that project if you would like.
The video of the community meeting is also available.
Oh, thank you. Yes, we had held a community meeting for this project on Monday night, and it was taped, and so that's available there too. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Liz. I also wanted to mention that back in December, I think it was after our last meeting, the planning department hosted an online demonstration of the city's online tools for ADUs, accessory dwelling units. And this is a resource that's available to property owners in Milpitas. You can look at your, use a map, and you can look at your property with it'll show the outline of your house and your yard. And then there are several different plans that are there that you can see what type of an ADU might fit in your yard if you were interested in building one of those. So that workshop was also videoed, and that video is available online. It's actually quite good. It's about, I think, 30 or 40 minutes long. So if you're interested in seeing how the online tools work, you can take a look at that. That's all. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Planning Director, did you, maybe I missed it, did you also mention the Planning Commissioners Academy?
Oh, I was going to mention that. Earlier this week, or it might have been late last week, I sent an email to everyone regarding an upcoming, the annual Planning Commissioners Academy that is going to be held this year, not too far away, over in San Ramon. So if you are so inclined, I'll resend that email just as a reminder to everyone. But if you're interested in that, particularly for Commissioner Awasthi and Commissioner Medina Ashby, if you're interested in attending that, I would highly encourage you to do that. And it's for seasoned planning commissioners as well as new ones too. There's always something new to learn, and it's a great networking opportunity. It is a 3-day conference, but we can sign you up for just 1 day if you're interested in going for just 1 day. And if you do have interest, in contact Liz, and she can handle the registration for you. Thank you for the reminder.
All right. Thank you, Planning Director. Okay. Next item on the agenda, as we had discussed, is the public forum. Those interested are invited to address the Planning Commission on any subject not on tonight's agenda, orally via Zoom webinar. The instructions are in the agenda. Speakers may provide their name and city of residence for the recording secretary's record, and comments may be limited to 3 minutes or less. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required from city staff or the Planning Commission, and no action can be taken. Planning Commission may instruct the staff to place the item on a future meeting item. Ms. Medina, do we have any anyone in the queue for public comment?
Chair, we do. We have Mr. Urvish Kumar Mehta.
Okay. Okay. Is he all right? Mr. Mehta, can you hear us?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair Bill Chuan. I also wanted to thank the respective commissioners, and as well as the Vice Chair, city staff, for the opportunity to speak as a public speaker. I also wanted to mention that I'm a resident of City of Milpitas and Commissioner to the Science, Innovation, Technology Commission. With the recent development within the California state, it is very important that that the Planning Commission, which is respectively assigning and as well as acquiring the properties within the City of Milpitas, it is equally important that be updated with the ongoing laws. And it is well understood that the Planning Commission is being held by the city attorney as well. So it is very important that that the commissioners as well as the respective city staff be required to update with the leases for contract sales, commission agreements, licenses, and many other property and real estate contracts to be placed in writing, and as well as making sure about that all the defects with regards to the land acquisition as well as the property acquirement be disclosed, whether that's a purchase or rental. And in case of any abandoned property ceded to the government after 3 years, as per the California law, anything that is abandoned, lost is considered the unclaimed property. So any cost that is to be retrieved as a part of a governmental cost, the commission must report that to the California law. So would be with the security deposits as well. These are some of the laws being updated after the induction of SB 9, SB 8, and SB 10 bill. So would be the eviction required proper notices as well. And as the Planning Commission specifically, which was being led by the previous chair, who has led and as well as guided through the deliberation of a process, that the ex parte communication becomes so important that any legal matter consultation or any legal matter advisement through the commissioner for the different land property acquirement be done through the specifically through the ex parte communication only. And also, it is imperative that the upcoming laws and the California redistricting mapping, important to evaluate that how planning commissioners can be distributed to different agencies of a city, becoming a representative of city and representing the city to the county as well as to the state, where they also participate to know and as well as updated city with the California State Law Commission. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mehta. Ms. Medina, is there anyone else in the queue?
No, Chair, no other community members in the queue.
All right, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, as we had discussed earlier, we're going to swap the new business with the public hearing. So with new business, I'm handing it over to the city attorney.
Thank you, Chair. So just very, very briefly, staff recommends that the commission move to reauthorize the virtual meetings of the commission pursuant to AB Assembly Bill 361. Since the commission's adoption of a resolution making findings under AB 361 on October 27th, the state of emergency with respect to the COVID-19 pandemic remains, and state or local officials, in particular Cal OSHA, continue to recommend measures to promote social distancing. We'll return with this item every 30 days as required under state law to allow for the continuance of virtual meetings. So at this time, we would request that a motion be made to reauthorize virtual meetings per AB 361.
Okay, do I have a motion to authorize AB 361?
Make a motion, so moved.
Okay, we have a motion from Vice Chair Ciardella. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, I got a second from Commissioner Awasti. Okay, and I'll go down and do the roll call vote. Commissioner Galong. Commissioner Galong, you're on mute.
Yeah. Aye, Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye. Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye. Motion passes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, next item in the agenda is the public hearing item. This is the Rainbow Child Care Facility. Planning Director.
Thank you, Chair Chuan. We have one public hearing item tonight, and as noted on the agenda, it's a child care facility. The commercial name will be Rainbow Child Care Facility on Main Street, 150 Main Street, in an existing multi-tenant commercial center. And there are two permits that are associated with the project. One is a conditional use permit to operate the child care facility, and the other one is a minor site development permit that will cover the changes that will be made to the premises of the actual building to accommodate the facilities for the child care. This includes outdoor play area, and all of this will be outlined and detailed in the staff report as well as the presentation. Tonight we have one of our new associate planners, James Atkins, who joined us back in mid-November, I think it was, or late November. and has been with us a couple of months. We're very happy to have him. He comes with a lot of experience as a trained architect and has also worked as a planner in both Arizona and California. We got here from Southern California, and we're very fortunate to have him. So I'll turn the time over to James. We also have our senior planner, Lillian Van Hua, who has been the advisor and the new planner. Also here tonight to have questions, as well as our traffic engineer, a representative, Captain Clinton Ross from the police department, and also our fire marshal, I believe, here as well, Albert Zamora. So now I'll turn the time over to James for the presentation.
Thank you, Planning Director. Okay, Mr. Atkins, go right ahead.
Well, thank you, Director Thomas, and good evening, Chairman Chuan and Commissioners. For consideration this evening is Conditional Use Permit UP 21-0002, which is a proposal to permit a new child care facility use as well as a minor site development permit MS 21-0237 to allow for exterior modifications to an existing building.
And IT, yeah, there we go.
Next slide. For the project tonight, the applicant is requesting approval of a conditional use permit and a minor site development permit for a new child care facility for up to 80 children, ages 2 years through 6 years. The use is proposed within an existing building at 150 through 158 South Main Street in the Midtown specific plan area, and will comprise 3,600 square feet of tenant space. The exterior modifications associated with the minor site development permit include removing 5 parking spaces at the rear of the building that will accommodate a 2,500 square foot outdoor play area to be enclosed by a 6-foot tall metal fence, landscape planters along the front and the sides of the building, a pedestrian connection from the front of the building to the rear of the building, and a 240 square foot trash enclosure. Next slide. Okay, this is an aerial view of the subject site indicated here in yellow. It is located on the east side of South Main Street, south of East Carlos Street at Sarah Way. As previously stated, the child care facility is proposed in an existing single-story building that formerly operated an after-school programs for children. The general plan and zoning ordinance designates this site as mixed use, where child care facilities are a conditionally permitted use. The surrounding properties, as you can see, to the north, south, and west are zoned mixed use as evident in the same color purple. And then to the west of, to the east of the site, the color gray indicates industrial use. Here we can see the site plan. The existing site is designed with one-way on-site vehicular circulation and includes a primary ingress-egress point located at the southern end of the site, and that's at the lighted intersection of South Main Street and Sarah Way. And there's also a secondary ingress-egress point to the north side of the site that also makes a connection at South Main Street. And additionally, there is a public sidewalk that runs along South Main Street that allows for public access and pedestrian access into the site. If we want to take a closer look at the modifications here, that we can see the proposed landscape planters at the front and along the sides of the building. We can also see the pedestrian connection there running from the front to the rear. There are bollards being placed there that will protect those walking there from vehicles securely. And the rear there, we see a 2,500 square foot outdoor play area. That will be the area where they remove the 5 parking spaces. And then there at the southeast corner of the site, there is a proposed 240 square foot new trash enclosure for the overall site. With respect to parking, there are multiple ratios when determining a minimum number of required parking spaces for a child care. The first ratio uses 1 space per classroom or 1 space per 500 square feet, whichever is greater. In this case, the square footage ratio was larger, which resulted in the requirement of 7 spaces for the use. The next ratio required is based on loading and unloading. That's calculated at 1 space for every 6 children, up to 5 spaces, and then 1 space per 10 children thereafter. And using those calculations, 10 additional spaces are required. And in total, this total requirement or this use requires 17 spaces. And then when we look at the rest of the table, we look at the overall site and the parking requirements. The total number of parking spaces for the entire site is 83 spaces. And please take note that the existing bar and restaurant take up most of those required spaces. Okay, the applicant did conduct a parking survey during the review process. The first part of that study was an on-site survey where the consultant observed that peak times for parking usage for the various uses at the center did not conflict with each other. And then as identified in the table, you can see the peak times for the children's facility drop-off and loading times show that there are 42 spaces available during morning drop-off times and at least 22 spaces available during afternoon and evening loading times. The second part of the study was a comparative analysis. That's where the consultant used data from other existing childcare facilities around the state. And they found that an average of 0.16 parking spaces per child are generally needed to meet demand. And with 80 students proposed for this site, the facility, based on that calculation, would need 13 spaces. And the conclusion that the consultant found was that based upon the parking surveys and the projected future use, that the site is adequate to meet the demands for the child care facility. Okay, with respect to business operations, the child care facility will have a maximum enrollment of 80 children, and the facility will approximately have 8 members of staff. The hours of operation of the center are Monday through Sunday, 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And drop-off and loading will be managed by staff, where the timing of those drop-offs and loadings are staggered according to assigned groups. Okay, this is the floor plan. We can see that the interior space is mostly comprised of classrooms. There are a total of 5 classrooms, and there's also a reception area, a break room, and 3 restrooms. The Milpitas Police Department reviewed the project and has provided conditions of approval to ensure the safety and security of the overall site and its occupants. Some of those conditions include high definition video surveillance, adequate exterior lighting, posted exterior site signage to discourage trespassing and loitering, and filing emergency contact information with the police department. Staff provided public notice for the application in accordance with city and state public noticing requirements. The city published a public hearing notice in the Milpitas Post on December 31st, 2021, and sent notices via mail to residents and owners within 1,000 feet of the project site. A sign was posted at the project site. A public notice was also posted to the city's website, and a notice was posted outside of City Hall. As of this evening, staff has not received any public comment. Staff has confirmed that the proposed project meets the findings associated with a conditional use permit as established in the Milpitas Municipal Code, and the detailed discussion for each finding is included in the staff report and addressed in the resolution. And staff has also confirmed that the project meets the findings associated with the minor site development permit as established in the Milpitas Municipal Code, and these findings are also detailed in the staff report and are addressed in the resolution. Next slide. Next slide. The project is exempt from further environmental review under CEQA guidelines sections 15301 and 15183. As proposed, the project includes a conditionally permitted child care facility use within an existing facility in an urbanized area and a minor site development permit to allow for minor modification to the site, including a new playground, landscaping, and trash enclosure. The project is also consistent with the Milpitas General Plan, zoning ordinance, Midtown Specific Plan, and the Child Care Master Plan. and there are no circumstances present that would require a subsequent environmental impact report or a negative declaration. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission open and close the public hearing and adopt Resolution 21-028, approving conditional use permit number UP 21-0002 and minor site development permit number MS 21-0237, subject to the conditions of approval. And that does conclude my presentation. I would be happy to answer any questions. And the applicant is also available to answer questions as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Atkins. At this time, does any of the planning commissioners have any questions for either Mr. Atkins or the applicant? Okay. I have a question for the applicant. Does the applicant have a presentation as well, or any comments they want to make themselves for this?
Chair Chuan, I think Vice Chair Ciardella also had a question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Vice Chair Ciardella. Yeah, sorry, it's hard to see with all the I'm having to scroll through the names here. So okay, go ahead, Vice Chair.
I should have probably said something instead of just raising my hand. And I apologize for the phone going off, but somebody should get it here in a second. Anyway, I couldn't really tell on the plans in the back at the end of the parking area there. Is there a fence there at the property line?
So to the north end there, are you talking about the rear of the site, Commissioner Ciardella?
Yes, okay. I am.
Can we go to the aerial? I believe there's a chain link fence there. I believe that's what I observed. And of course, you can't see it because of the yellow line, but I do believe there's a chain link fence in that location. There's no access there. There's no vehicular access or any kind of pedestrian access between the existing lot there and the lot to the north. I believe what the chain link fence is for the lot to the north. It's a chain link fence that then closes the lot to the north.
Yeah,
okay.
I was able to pull up, excuse me, if you through the chair, okay. I was able to pull this up on Google Maps, and there is a chain link fence with some slats. It's not in great condition, but it is there between this property and the property to the north. And there is also a chain link fence between this property and the railroad tracks. And let's look, and to the south, there is a fence in very good condition, chain link with slats.
Okay. Then, I'm hoping, one of my questions was, this area where the playground's going to be, I would like to see some kind of a shade cloth there. This way, folks along the railroad tracks there won't be peeking through the fence and looking at the kids playing, to put it bluntly. I've got a couple other questions too. The toilets, are they children's toilets or they're adult toilets?
Commissioner Ciardella, I did speak with the applicant just prior to the meeting, and I hope that she was going to be available for to answer questions such as that. When I look at trying to look at the plans here.
Actually, I went and took my tape measure out and measured the height of my toilet here in my house. And naturally, it's not a child's toilet, and it was 17 inches.
Chair Chuan and Vice Chair, we have the applicant. She has her hand up.
Okay.
I'll ask her to unmute.
That's fine. Okay,
That's great.
So, Miss Chu.
Yeah.
Yes, if you know the answer to Vice Chair Seardela's question regarding the toilets.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry I lost my voice. Yes, the children's size toilet, 11 inches. That's designed exactly for childcare center and it's wonderful. We need more detailed information about children's size sink or the sink size is 18 inches, under 18 inches, and the toilet size 11 inches. Mostly in our house, adult size 16 and 19.
Vice Chair Seardela, are you able to hear her answers, or is it a little bit?
No, it was a little muffled.
Yeah. Ms. Chu,
Yes.
if you don't mind, if there's some way, maybe you can go closer to the microphone and speak
Okay.
and slower as well.
Currently, I have family. I have childcare center in Milpitas. So everything the bathroom design has to follow, ADA and childcare licensing requirement. The size, everything has to follow exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Did you get that, Vice Chair?
Sorta.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost my voice, so my voice not so clear.
Oh.
I believe what the applicant is emphasizing here is that childcare facilities like this are regulated by the state, and to get licensing, there are specific construction design guidelines that require guidelines such as restroom facilities and things like that to be constructed for specific uses like childcare facilities. So that being said, I believe that there has to be a certain number of child-sized facilities for their use.
Yes.
And that typically that falls, more the purview of the building and safety department is going to review that to ensure that that code is being met. But it's an excellent question at this point to address and ensure that that is truly the case.
Okay. And then what about the shade cloth or some kind of a material we can put around that metal fencing?
We can answer. We will put the metal mesh, the mesh around the fence. Currently, we have that, so can block the vision from outside, peek inside, protect our children's safety.
So it will be added to the fence?
Yes, attached to the fence.
Okay. And then I guess the other question I have is, how does the security work for dropping off and especially picking up the kids?
Firstly, we have live cameras surrounding. Secondly, we have very strict drop off and pick up policies. We have staff every day sign the people, supervise parents in and out. Then we set up limit traffic amount in individual time period. For example, 7 to 8 o'clock, how many parents need to drop off? Especially right now during pandemic, the social distancing very important also. We need to keep parents 1 by 1.6 feet. So we have to limit the traffic at the same time in the parking.
So will there be some type, because you're coming in, I understand you're sick, but hard for me to understand. So that means there'll be some kind of a sign in and sign out.
Yes, we have apps for care. So parents, once they drive to the parking lot, they can sign in, sign out from inside their car with GPS. Then school on the screen will see who's the car in, then which parents sign in, then the teacher will out directly go to the parking lot, assist the parents drop off or either pick up.
Okay, so I presume that's a yes.
Yes,
Okay, thank you.
thank you so much.
Planning Director, you had your hand raised.
Yes, I wanted to just provide a little bit of detail. If in the attachment are copies of the plans, and if you look at the interior plans, they were also shown at one of the slides, I think, in this. There are 3 restroom facilities as part of this project. There are 2 child-size restrooms and 1 adult-size restroom, and those are detailed on sheets A2.1, and then the size of the toilets is detailed on the last sheet, A4.1. The larger child's restroom has 4 restroom facilities and 4 sinks that are all child-size, and the other one I believe is 2 child-size sinks and restrooms, and they're both handicapped accessible. And then the 3rd restroom, which is adult size, is for the teachers, of course, and the staff, 1 toilet and 1 sink, and also ADA accessible. If needed, we can add a condition of approval requiring the cloth material on some type of a cloth material on the front and the rear. Thank you.
So I can ask one question. So like the fence protection, if we add something really solid cannot look through, will block the traffic turn around. So we have to at least the traffic can see once they make a U-turn drive out. If the fence fully blocked, I don't think. I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. We are going to add the mesh, but cannot be really solid. Couldn't look through, and the traffic will block their vision once they turn around.
Chair Chuan, I wanted to note that Miss Helen Key's architect is an attendee. His hand was raised earlier, so if he could help.
I did notice that. So if I see that the architect is in the attendees, any way to make have the architect be a panelist as well, or at least unmute. So okay, so okay, I see that you have the architect now. So welcome. Is it Sai Chang Sai? Am I saying your name correctly? Hello, can you hear us? You're on mute right now.
Raise up.
Yeah.
Myself. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Si Cheng Cai. I'm the architect for this project. I'm in the my office is at San Jose. It's a 2050 Concourse Drive, suite number 50. Yes, right. I'll be very happy to answer Commissioner's answers. I believe I just can repeat that. I mean, children's bedrooms, we do have 2 locations, and we have adult bedroom. Both are compliant to the building standards for the adult and the children's. So regarding the screens, the playgrounds, I believe we can put some kind of mesh to keep certain visible purpose, but I don't think we can make it solid. Several things considered. One thing is the lighting. Second one is also ventilations. Also, and I believe that in that time we talked to the building department, they purposely they're asking us to cut a corner at the back on our fence because they're hoping the car driving got a more visible angles to know who is coming out. So it is better not solid and close the playground area. Obviously, we're going to put some kind of mesh, some kind of cloth. You can kind of see through, but I mean, not very clear. At least you know there's something other side of that. And also we can keep ventilation and as well as some lighting into the area. So that is, we can do it. Actually, I think we do have some kind of cover on that one. Only the vertical crackhead is not protect enough. So we need some kind of more dense protection for the kids. We don't like their hands and straight out to the fence. So obviously there comes some kind of like a chain link with a little tight the net on that. So yes, we're going to put some protections, but it won't be a solid closed. Yeah, this is my answer to the questions.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tsai. Any other questions from the commissioners to the either staff, the applicant, or the architect? Yes, planning director.
A quick comment again on the fencing in the back. What we can do if the commission would like, we can add a condition of approval for to review the fence material, and they can make a proposal to us, and then we can review it. And we can write the condition of approval in that manner.
Okay.
All right. It sounds like a couple of different alternatives that they can propose for us.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from any of the other commissioners? If you just raise your hand, I'm going through and looking if you don't have any. Okay, if you don't have, did someone have a question? I thought I saw. Okay. Let's see. So I actually had a question in regard to the parking. So can we go to the slide with the parking? Sorry, did somebody say something? Not that part. So there was another slide that talked about during the times of days of the parking spaces. So just clarification. At least what I heard from Associate Planner Atkins, that this was done by the applicant?
No, it's by a professional company, not a Hexagon consultant for company.
Okay, got it. Okay, so it's done by Hexagon. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for that clarification there. All right. Do we have a representative from Hexagon, or is that going to?
He has official documents I submitted to planning.
Okay. All right. I did see I did review the document as well too. Okay. That was the only question I had. Does anybody have any other questions for the staff or the applicant, or the architect? If not,
It looks like
go ahead.
Commissioner Wasti has his hand raised, I believe.
Okay, Commissioner Wasti.
Can
you're on mute.
you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, ask your question.
This is a very good plan, and but it is in a strip mall which has a bar and a restaurant. So what steps can be taken to avoid loitering in the area, especially when there are so many kids involved?
Well, I think that's a great question, Commissioner. Some of the conditions of approval that the police department has required is signage that prohibits loitering. And I know that's signage and not necessarily active patrolling of the site to enforce it, but it is a mitigation measure that is commonly used to provide a message to anyone who might be loitering out there that it's not permitted. Just as a matter of fact, the previous use was an after schools program for children, and that was being conducted while these existing uses were there. And fortunately, there were no known incidents that occurred, negative incidents that occurred while that business was operating there. So yeah, so with respect to loitering and things like that, other than signage, that's one mitigation measure that the police department does require, to put a message out there that that type of behavior is prohibited.
All right.
At this time, I'm going to actually open it up to, so if there's no other questions for the staff, the applicant, or the architect, I'm going to bring Captain Morales online, since I think, questions around safety and Captain Morales, if you have any comments or anything you'd like to talk about with regard to the project.
Good evening, Chair Chuan. I appreciate the time this evening to speak before you all, commissioners as well, and city staff. I reviewed the planning review that was submitted to the city regarding the site, and as previously mentioned, one of our conditions was to have that verbiage in the form of signage at the site to prevent people from loitering on or around the school facility itself. As mentioned, we did have a school there on site before, and to my knowledge, we had not experienced any issues where we had received complaints from people loitering in that vicinity. I think that coupled with the requirement for the security cameras to monitor the exterior of the facility, that too would likely discourage people from congregating in that area.
I appreciate the additional comments there. Does any of the commissioners have any questions for Captain Morales? Okay, if there's no questions, I'm going to go to the next person, Deputy Chief Zamora. Any questions for, let's see, Deputy Fire Chief Zamora? Thank you for joining the meeting. Do you have any comments in regards to the, safety in regards to fire, or any comments you have regarding this project?
First of all, good evening, Chair, and congratulations, and Vice Chair, as well as honorable members of the Planning Commission. No, at this time, I think it's pretty safe in terms of what they have. Based on the scope of work, you have the outdoor play area, which is necessary for the daycare operations. This building will have a fire alarm system that is necessary under the conditions of approval. This building is currently unsprinkled, but because they meet the exceptions that allows them to preclude the sprinkler systems at this time unless they wish to do so, that's really the extent of which the fire protection that is provided for this use and building classification. Otherwise, this is an existing building footprint. Our access has been standard based on the existence of the building. And we have no further comment at this time, unless there's questions that someone else may want to ask me.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have any questions for Deputy Chief Zamora? Let's see.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Vice Chair Ciardella.
Yeah, Chief, I've got a question. I was thinking about the sprinklers in a building that was built, what, 1962, I believe it was.
Yes.
When did the state law or the ordinance or whatever come in that required sprinklers in buildings?
So zero tolerance relative to sprinkler systems came in about the time the 2000 edition of the California Fire Code was adopted by the state, and as well as by us when we were approved to adopt 6 months after the state adopted it. So relative to time frame, that would be approximately around 2010.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious as to when it went into effect.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
We only have a few buildings that are without sprinklers, only because they were compliant at the time that the code that was adopted, but that's basically 2010 is the time frame. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right. Any other questions for Deputy Fire Chief Zamora?
Chair, I have a question to the applicant.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Galan.
Yeah, Ms. Applicant, you mentioned that for out of 80 children, the maximum, and then you have 8 staff. Are these certified? Staff are certified?
Yes, they are full qualified with college units, at least 12 units with 3 years experience. And we have to meet California child care license, the teacher and the children ratio. One teacher for 12 children for between 2 years old to 6 years old.
So are you certified also?
Yeah, I'm certified director.
And I'm just concerned about emergency. Are they certified also like CPR? Because
yes.
Normally you're required to renew your certificate every 2 years
yes.
or 1 year, right?
Yes, after we get building occupancy permit, we are going to apply childcare license, state license. They have all the requirements exactly like you asked. So we are doing fingerprint check, background check, and early education program. At least for teachers need 12 units. Then CPR training, then at least 3 years experience for the full qualified teachers also. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hold on, Commissioner Galong. Yes. Planning Director has his hands up real quick. Did you have a comment, Planning Director?
Just a friendly reminder that if we could keep within the purview of the Planning Commission on the land use and the project itself. These are all very valid questions, but some of the items like the licensing and the qualifications for the teachers are actually under either state purview or outside of the purview of the Planning Commission. But suffice it to say that this type of facility is very highly regulated. So those types of things will be definitely will be taken care of. Thank you. Just a friendly reminder.
Yeah, thank you, Planning Director.
Thank you, Chair.
All right. Okay. Any other further questions for?
Can I ask one question? I really have one question.
Okay, go ahead, Ms.
So
Chu.
about the fire department, about the sprinkler system. So the building exception about the sprinkler, is that, do we need or no?
I think that's a question for Deputy Chief Zamora.
Yeah, I missed the understanding. He's explaining. I just want to confirm this. So the total square feet is 3,600.
Yes. So good evening. So I don't know if you had a chance to review the conditions of approval, at least the planning notes that were given from the fire department. It speaks to requirements for sprinklers as well as fire alarms. However, in the code, there are exceptions. And in this particular case, I believe the threshold is around 12,000 square feet. And because you are way less than that, then you have your architect has the option to go ahead and take advantage of that exception. So, but we're required to at least advise the applicants that there are the standard requirements, but then you must, your architect must go ahead and evaluate to determine if they can take advantage of the exception if it's applicable to your use and size of tenant improvement.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
your architect should know that. So.
Okay, so you said just an alarm system.
Yes, because it's a daycare operation.
I understand. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Very welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Fire Chief Zamora. Okay. Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Galong.
I have a question to the fire chief, Mr. Zamora. Way back, I think 15 years ago, I remember your people visit my office once a year to check the fire extinguisher, to check the sprinkler if it is working.
Yes.
And some other things. And how come you're not doing that anymore? I'm just curious.
Well, right now, because we're faced with COVID, we had to put a pause on some of the standard low-level hazard annual inspections by our engine company, because right now they're busy responding to more than 95% of our medical calls that we're faced right now. So unfortunately, because now we're faced with Omicron, that has put a little bit of a damper on the situation. So if you remember when we began with the COVID-19 shutdown on March 16, 2020,
yes,
it was very difficult for us to get in some of the buildings. Some people weren't even open for business. So 2020 was really not much in terms of conducting engine company, low-level hazards like your office, because that falls into that category. But whenever we saw places of business that had restaurants or anything of that nature that were open, for example, for takeout, then we would go in there and conduct the fire life safety inspection. So a lot of it is attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic at this time, sir.
So this building, they're supposed to have a fire extinguisher, right?
Yes, they will, under the conditions of approval. And then when we go and do the construction documents relative to fire approval, there will be a condition that there will be a 2A10BC fire extinguisher up to 3,000 square feet. In this case, because I believe it's over 3,000, they'll probably have a maximum number of 2 within 75 feet of travel distance. And so we will make sure once we finally approve them before we sign off on the certificate of occupancy.
Okay. Did they require a training, emergency or disaster emergency, especially on this, a lot of kids in the building?
Yeah, I believe under the daycare, there's a responsibility, especially through the state licensing, that it's the responsibility of the facility to, or the owners of the facility and who runs the business to ensure that they're exercising the drills that are necessary to ensure that they're evacuating, so that way they're safe and the children are safe.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Deputy Fire Chief Zamora. Okay, any other last questions for?
Last question.
Okay, Commissioner Albana, yes.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I wanted to ask, I don't know if this would be directed to Architect Tsai or maybe Mr. Atkins. I was also wanting to know how do we ensure that the building and the site is well lighted, like especially after the children has, I think this is only operational until 6:30, right? So is it well lighted? Yes.
Actually, our plan is updated. So opening hour till 6 o'clock, but we still put enough lighting. From the drawing, you can see that's the lighting part. I think Tsai will answer this question. Will be better than me, more professional.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let me answer to this one. Basically, we do propose to add more exterior lights, and we also provide photometrics already to showing the location. We can provide adequate lighting to the ground. So yes, we do provide analysis and also propose to install the exterior lights. So yes, we do have that.
Yes, thank you so much, Architect. It would be very nice because we're also trying to develop, the main street into a well-lighted neighborhood. So it would be nice. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Albana. Okay, there's no other questions from the commissioners. I want to go to Mr. Chan, our traffic manager. Thanks, Mr. Chan, for joining. I was wondering if you had any comments in regards to this particular project in regards to the transportation and traffic.
Thank you, Commissioners. I did review this project, and I do not have any concern regarding vehicular or pedestrian access to the site. The traffic generation for this site from this daycare facility is not significant. There's ample parking. Access is through a signalized intersection. There's plenty of queuing area into the parking space. So I do not have any concern in regards to mobility and access to the site.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chan. Does anybody have questions for Steve Chan?
Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Galong.
I have a question to the applicant. Miss Applicant, hello. Regarding about the pickup during pickup time, what's your system? This is for the safety of the kid. Did the whoever pick up the kid, should they enter your inside the building so that they can identify who's going to pick
Yeah,
them up?
yeah. The parents all have the gate code. Each parent has their combination. They can use their card or either punch code or cell phone. Release the code. They can walk in. Except the parents, no one can go inside.
Say it again. You're breaking up. Can you please repeat?
They have the combination code.
Okay.
Yeah. We have gate code on the entrance.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Any last questions from any of the commissioners? Okay, this being a public hearing item, at this time I'm going to open it up for the public hearing. Ms. Medina, is there any questions or any hand raises? I see that there's one.
Yes, so we have Mr. Irvish Kumar Mehta in the queue for a public hearing comment.
Okay. All right, go ahead, Mr. Mehta. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much again to all the respective commissioners, vice chair, chair, the same staff. I want to specifically mention about the California, with the California Child Care Centers and Child Daycare. As per the California Child Care Act, there is a specific requirement in order for the administration of a child care center's licensing, remedies for the employer, and as well as the employee action that is to be taken in order for the safety of the facilities. It is equally important to ensure that the administration of a child care center's licensing as per the Health and Safety Code, licensing provisioning for the daycare centers, which is about the capacity of 80, requires all revenue generated by the fees for the licenses be computed and as well as be analyzed and be evaluated every 3 years as per the California Daycare Act. And so is the case that license is particularly be derived in order for the monitoring fee as well as a stipulation that is required for the execution of an administrative procedural act that is to be applied in order for the safety and as well as health code to be maintained for the facility. Also, it is equally important that the rooms that are used by the classroom by a school-age childcare program, they meet the specific square footage criteria based upon the California Child Daycare Act. With the capacity requirement, there's a specification that is required to be approved for the specific classrooms by the architects. Also, a certification that is to be signed by the superintendent of the schools, his or her designee, and as well as the child care centers accommodate as per the public instructions and the guidance. These are some of the facts with also to make sure that they serve no beverages with the added sweeteners, either natural or artificial, and also to make sure about that they continue to maintain the medical food to be provided as per the section 109971, and also apply the dietary guidelines for the children as a part of a Department of Health and Human Services. In order for the facilities to be procured, there are specifically monitorings that is to be defined as per the legislation as well. And there are supported budgeted costs that is to be outlined within the forfeiture as well. Also to mention that with the State Department of Social Services if there are any extended programs.
Thank you, Mr. Mehta. Our time's up with the 3 minutes. Thank you. All right. Okay. Now I'm gonna, open up. I'm gonna first, before going back over to staff, I'm gonna see if anybody has any questions for Captain Morales.
Mr.
Go ahead,
Mr.
City
Chair.
Attorney. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if there's no more comments, I suggest we close.
That's right. Yeah.
Move to close.
Thank you for the reminder, City Attorney. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
A motion to close the public meeting, please.
Okay, we've got a motion from Commissioner Albana. I have a second.
Second.
Okay, got a motion from Commissioner Albana and a second from Commissioner Awasti. Okay, I'm going to do roll call vote. Okay, Commissioner Galong. Commissioner Galong?
Aye.
Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
Chair Chuan is aye also. So, okay, so public forum is now closed. All right, so before we move on, okay, now moving on. Any last questions for Captain Morales? If no further questions for Captain Morales, thank you, Captain Morales, for joining. You can go ahead and go.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. And then next is Deputy Fire Chief Zamora. Any last questions for Deputy Fire Chief Zamora? Okay, if there's no questions for Deputy Fire Chief Zamora, then I'm going to let you go ahead and go. Thank you very much for your time, Deputy Fire Chief.
Thank you. Have everybody have a good evening tonight. Thank you.
You too.
Bye.
Okay. And then any last questions for our transportation manager, Steve Chan? Okay, if there's any questions for Mr. Chan. Thank you, Mr. Chan, for joining us. And you can go ahead and go.
Thank you.
All right. Any final questions for the applicant or staff or the architect? Okay. Commissioner Galong.
Here, one quick question to the applicant. What's the difference daycare and child care?
What's the difference? What's your question, sir?
What's the difference? Tell me about the difference. Is it the same, the childcare and then the daycare facility the same?
I think childcare and the daycare center. Childcare mostly you can provide by individual families. Childcare center, that's multiple age group. Center means you have to combine infants, toddler, and the preschool, 3 different levels in one school called the center. Daycare, only 1 levels. Or either anyone can have daycare in their house, called family daycare. Large family daycare, 12 children, small family daycare, 8 children. But of the capacity of the daycare center, everything based on the license evaluation. Not I apply children, then they will give you 80 children. Depends on license, not me.
Okay. Any other further questions, Commissioner Galong? And just a reminder for all the folks there. So any final questions, just want to make sure that we're, sticking to what Planning Director had advised earlier. Just want to make sure we stay on the, land use type of questions there. So any other further questions for the applicant, Commissioner Long?
Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners? Okay. Any final comments? Maybe just some deliberations. Just go. I'm just going to go down the line for any deliberations. So, Commissioner Galong, did you have any other final deliberations on it, or?
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Medina Ashby, any final comments or deliberations?
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Awasti, any final comments or deliberations? You're on mute right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. No, Chairman. No,
Okay.
Chair.
All right. And then Commissioner Albana.
Thank you, Chair. I'm very happy that we will have an additional daycare for Milpitas because we are also in need, and this will be a very good development in the South Main Street area. Very good project. And of course, I thank the staff because they put their diligence in making sure that all the guidelines are met and the requirements of the CEQA and everything. So I'm very glad for this project. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Albana. Okay, Vice Chair Ciardella.
None, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And my final comment is, I'm in line with Commissioner Albana as well too. Just good to have more daycare centers here. So, okay. Having said that, do I have any motions? Any final comments or motions? Can I get a motion?
I'd like to motion to that we consider adopting the resolution number 21028, approving the conditional use permit number UP 21-002, and also the minor site development permit number MS 21-0237, subject to attached conditions of approval. And Attorney, do we also add that maybe we could say adding that that mesh cloth thing for that as an additional comment, or we add?
Yes, you can certainly add that, and then we would just get a second.
And so we will add that as we discussed, something to do with the fencing and that cloth. How do you call that?
Shade cloth.
Shade cloth, yes. Thank you.
Director Thomas, do you have any recommendation on the wording on that?
Yeah, I don't have the exact wording, but if it's the pleasure of the commission, we can write a condition such that the applicant will work with staff to identify options, acceptable options for shade cloth to be used, or other material, other appropriate material to be used on the fence to provide additional not shading, but for security or
privacy.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. It's late. I'm losing my vocabulary as the minutes tick by. So yeah, additional privacy, and we'll do that if you don't mind. We'll do that at the discretion of the planning director or planning staff, and we'll just work with it.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Ballmer, is that acceptable as you as?
Yes, of course, acceptable, and that will be subject to the words that we can appropriately address it, and we already know that it will be more for the security, privacy, and for the public viewing. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Commissioner Albana. So we have a motion from Commissioner Albana. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from Commissioner Albana and a second from Vice Chair Ciardella. I'm going to go down now and do the roll call vote. Commissioner Galong.
Aye.
Commissioner Medina Ashby.
Aye.
Commissioner Awasti.
Aye.
Commissioner Albana.
Aye.
Vice Chair Ciardella.
Aye.
And Chair Chuan is aye. Motion passes. Congratulations to the applicant. Okay. All right. We got one more item here. So I'm going to read the legalese. Since we already did new business, I'm going to skip over to the legalese. Any person aggrieved by any final decision of any board, commission, or department head to the city of Milpitas may appeal the decision to the city council by filing written notice of the appeal with the city clerk within 12 calendar days of the date of said decision and paying the required fee. The time limit shall be strictly enforced. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, got a motion from Commissioner Ciardella and a second from, who made the second? Commissioner Galam.
Yes, second.
All right. So I'm just gonna do just, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Aye.
No opposition. Thank you. Meeting is concluded.
Good job, Chair.
Have a great
Good
evening.
night.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Director.